Jalen Ward was used to chaos, but not this kind. Not a billionaire woman sitting on his living room couch wearing his old Howard University t-shirt, clutching a mug of ginger tea like she had lived there her whole life. Not a woman whose face he had seen a dozen times on Forbes covers at the grocery store. The kind of woman who owned buildings, companies, and half the skyline. And definitely not a woman who looked at him like he was the mystery in the room. But here they were at 6:12 a.m. in his tiny two-bedroom apartment above Carter's barber shop. His daughter's unicorn backpack leaned against the wall. The radiator hissed, and the woman, the stranger he pulled out of a wreck at 1:47 a.m., during the worst rain of the year, sat on his couch wearing his shirt and staring at him with unsettling, glassy, calm eyes. Her voice was soft when she spoke. "Mr. Ward, you saved my life." He swallowed, his throat tight. "Yeah, well, anybody would have done the same." "No," she whispered, "they wouldn't have." She looked down at her hands, then back up at him, studying him, memorizing him. There was something calculated in her gaze, but something vulnerable too. Something that didn't fit the ruthless billionaire he'd seen on magazine covers. He didn't even know her name last night. Just the crash, the screaming tires, the flash of white Mercedes hitting the guardrail near the bridge. The sound of her voice, "Help me," trembling through rain and metal, and then him sprinting, tearing the door open with his bare hands, lifting her out before the engine started smoking. He didn't ask who she was. He didn't ask anything. He just carried her like she weighed nothing, brought her home because the hospital ER was overflowing, wrapped her in his daughter's spare blanket, and gave her the only dry shirt he had left that didn't smell like engine oil. And now she was here, a billionaire, in his shirt, in his house, and she looked terrified not of the crash, but of something else entirely. Just then, small feet pattered down the hallway. "Daddy," came a soft voice. Jalen froze. His daughter, Maya, rubbed her eyes, hugging her stuffed bunny. She was 6, curious, brilliant, always awake too early. Her eyes widened the moment she noticed the woman on their couch. "Daddy, who is that lady wearing your college shirt?" The billionaire woman actually smiled, shy, almost embarrassed. "A friend," Jalen said quickly, kneeling next to Maya. "She had an accident." "Oh." Maya nodded, then whispered loudly, "She's really pretty." The woman's cheeks warmed and her voice softened. "Thank you, sweetheart." Maya lit up like she had been given a golden sticker. She whispered to her bunny, "She likes me." But a moment later, the woman stiffened, a flicker of pain crossing her face. She put a hand on her ribs. "You okay?" Jalen asked. "It's just bruising." She said, "You pulled me out fast and I hit the pavement hard. I'm sorry, don't be." Her voice dropped. "If you hadn't gotten me out, the car might have." She cut herself off. Maya stared at her. "Do you want pancakes? Daddy makes them a little burnt, but they still taste good." "Maya," Jalen muttered, "not now." The woman laughed genuinely, softly, like she hadn't laughed in years. "I haven't had pancakes in a long time," she admitted. "Why not?" Maya asked innocently. The woman blinked, and for the first time, Jalen noticed it. She didn't have the aura of someone used to being cared for. She had the aura of someone used to being feared. Jalen stood up. "I'm gonna call someone to pick you up." Her smile vanished instantly. "No." It was too sharp, too urgent. Jalen paused. "No." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Please, don't call anyone yet." There was fear in her eyes, real fear, not the kind you could fake even with billions. Jalen crossed his arms. "Look, ma'am, whoever you are, you can't just stay here. I gotta get Maya to school. I gotta get to the shop. Life doesn't stop 'cause a billionaire fell on my couch." She didn't answer. Instead, she reached for her phone on the coffee table, the one he pulled from the wreck. Its screen was shattered. She turned it on anyway, and Jalen saw it. A flood of messages, all from one contact, Victor Caldwell. He recognized the name. Everyone did. Caldwell Industries, mega billionaire. Ruthless rival CEO, owner of half the real estate developments in the state. The messages were aggressive, threatening, unhinged. He watched as she scrolled. "Come back now. Do not make me send people." "Where are you? We're not done talking." "If you walk away from this deal, you walk away from everything." More messages, more intensity. Jalen read enough to know This wasn't business. This was danger. The woman noticed him watching. She turned the phone face down, inhaled shakily, then whispered, "My name is Alara Sterling." Jalen froze. Everyone knew that name. Alara Sterling, the youngest black woman billionaire in the country. Alara Sterling, the CEO of Sterling Innovations. Alara Sterling, the woman whose face was on billboards downtown. He started. Yes, and you're scared of Victor Caldwell. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't confirm. She didn't deny either. He can't know where I am, she said softly. Not yet. Jalen rubbed his forehead. Ma'am, whatever's going on between billionaires, it isn't business, she whispered. She looked to Maya, then back to him. Her voice cracked. It's survival. Those two words hung in the air, and suddenly the crash wasn't just a crash. Suddenly last night wasn't random. Suddenly the fear in her eyes wasn't about the wreck, it was about the man blowing up her phone. Jalen stepped back, letting everything sink in. You running from him? He asked. Alara didn't answer. Instead, she raised her shirt slightly, his old shirt revealing a dark purpling bruise across her ribs. A bruise shaped like fingers, fingerprints. Jalen's stomach turned. Maya didn't understand the tension building, but she felt it. She clutched his leg, confused. Daddy, what's happening? Jalen's voice hardened deep, protective, the voice he only used when something threatened his daughter. You need a hospital, he said. No. She shook her head quickly. He'll find me. Jalen narrowed his eyes. What did that man do to you? Her voice went quiet, fragile as glass. He told me I belonged to him, and when I said no, he tried to make sure I wouldn't be able to walk out on him again. Silence, heavy, suffocating. Maya hugged her bunny tighter, and Jalen felt something in him shift. He didn't know this woman, but he knew fear. He knew what it looked like. He knew what it sounded like. He knew what it felt like to be cornered by someone with more power than you, someone who believed they owned the world and everyone in it. He had survived things too, things Maya would never know about. Things that made him understand exactly what Alara's eyes were saying without a word. Jalen took a slow breath. Okay, he said finally, you can stay for a bit. Alara's shoulders dropped in relief, but only for a moment. Because there was a sound, a buzzing, a vibration, not her phone. Jalen picked it up. Unknown number, he answered cautiously. Hello. A deep voice, cold, controlled. Is this Jalen Ward? Jalen stiffened. Who's asking? I was told you were the one who pulled a woman from the crash last night. His heart thudded. Alara's face drained of color. The voice continued. I need to know where she is. Jalen's grip tightened around the phone. Who is this? A pause. Then, Victor Caldwell. Alara mouthed silently. Don't tell him. Jalen inhaled deeply, placed himself between Alara and the door. His voice steady, low, protective. I don't know who you're looking for, but nobody here needs you. Another pause on the line. Long, unsettling, then the voice said quietly, You're making a mistake, Mr. Ward. Click, call ended. Jalen looked at Alara. She was trembling. Maya whispered, Daddy, I'm scared. Jalen swallowed hard, then spoke with the certainty of a man who had nothing in the world except the two people standing in front of him and would fight death itself to protect them. Nobody's touching y'all, he said quietly. Not while you're under my roof. Alara looked up at him, and for the first time her eyes weren't scared. They were grateful and terrified at the same time. Jalen didn't know it yet, but everything in his life, his daughter, his shop, his quiet routines, his past was about to change. Because the woman wearing his shirt hadn't told him the truth, not the whole truth, not even close. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He lay there long after Lee had gone back into the guest room. Long after the house settled into that silent heaviness that only shows up when the truth is too loud to ignore. He replayed every second of the evening. Her tears, her shaking hands, the way she clutched the shirt like it was a lifeline, the way she flinched when he asked who hurt her. And that sentence she whispered right before she closed the door. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Marcus stared at the ceiling. He wanted to ask 100 questions. He wanted to get up, knock on her door, demand answers, demand names, but something about the way she broke quietly like someone who'd been strong for far too long, stopped him. Plus, Joy was asleep in the next room, and Marcus refused to bring chaos near his daughter unless he understood it. But he also couldn't deny one thing. Lee Winters was hiding something that wasn't small, wasn't random, wasn't accidental. This wasn't just a woman running from a breakup or a wrong turn. This was fear with a name. This was danger with a face, and somehow, some way, it had landed in his shirt inside his house. Joy woke up screaming at 5:17 a.m. Marcus's body shot upright before his brain caught up. He stumbled out of bed, nearly ripping the blanket as he sprinted to her room. Joy was curled on the floor, tangled in her blankets, shaking. He dropped to his knees. Baby, hey, I'm here, Daddy's here, what's wrong? He scooped her up, brushing her hair from her forehead. She pointed at the window. Marcus looked. The window was cracked open. He never left the window open. He carried Joy to her bed and checked it. The latch was loose. The wind, possibly, but instincts told him otherwise. He checked the hallway, checked the front door, checked the back door. Nothing broken, nothing missing. Then he checked the guest room. The door was slightly open, just slightly, and Lee's bed was empty. For a second his heart stopped, but then her voice floated from the kitchen, soft, almost embarrassed. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare either of you. The window woke me up. I thought I heard something outside too. She was making tea, wearing the same shirt, the one he'd given her, but she had tied the bottom into a knot like she was trying to make it feel like hers. Joy peeked at her from behind Marcus's shoulder. Lee offered a small wave. Joy stared, then waved back shyly. Marcus looked at the window again. What exactly did you hear? He asked quietly. She swallowed. Something metallic. I'm not sure. I probably imagined it. I barely slept. Marcus watched her carefully. She wasn't lying, but she wasn't telling everything either. He had questions. But Joy was watching, and Lee looked like she was barely holding herself together, and this morning already felt too heavy. He forced his voice to soften. Okay, let's just start the morning. Joy tugged his shirt. Daddy, is she gonna stay with us? Lee's eyes flashed with guilt. Sweetheart, I'm not. I don't want to intrude. You're not intruding. Marcus said without thinking. Joy brightened. Lee looked like she might cry again. Marcus cleared his throat. I mean, until we figure out what's going on. Lee nodded slowly. Thank you. The morning moved quietly. Marcus got Joy ready for school. Lee helped pack the lunch, like she needed something to do with her hands, something normal. When Marcus grabbed his keys, Joy grabbed Lee's fingers. Are you coming too? Lee froze. Marcus stepped in. Miss Lee has to rest today, baby. But Lee knelt down. I'll be right here when you get back. Joy hugged her. Hard, like she had known Lee for years. Lee gasped softly, like she wasn't used to someone choosing to touch her. Then Joy skipped out the door. Marcus and Lee stood facing each other. The morning sun lit her hair, and for the first time he noticed the long, thin bruise across her collarbone. He hadn't seen it last night. She realized what he was looking at. This was an accident. She whispered, no. He said it wasn't. Her breaths trembled. You don't understand, then help me understand. She opened her mouth, closed it. Her eyes filled, and she whispered, please don't press me today. He wanted to argue. He wanted to demand. He wanted to fix whatever hell she crawled out of. But the way her shoulders slumped told him she'd been surviving for too long. So he nodded. Fine, but I'm checking the windows before I leave. She exhaled shakily. Thank you. He checked the locks, checked the back gate, checked the alley. Everything looked normal, too normal. As he opened the car door, she stepped onto the porch. Marcus. He looked back. If I could tell you now, I would. He believed her. He just didn't understand why the truth seemed so heavy it was crushing her. Then he left for work. Marcus worked at Night Community Auto Shop, a small place with bigger dreams than money. He was supposed to be diagnosing a transmission, but his mind kept drifting back home. Who was Lee Winters? Why was she running, and why had she ended up at his door? His coworker, Dee, nudged him. You good, bro? You've checked that same wire for 20 minutes. Marcus sighed. Bad night. Daddy duties. Something like that. Dee smirked. Or somebody. Marcus glared. Dee raised his hands. All right. But don't bring girl problems to my lift. That lift already got trust issues. Before Marcus could reply, his phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number. His stomach tightened. He clicked it open. We need to talk. It's about Lee. Marcus froze. The number wasn't saved. He texted back. Who is this? No response. Dee noticed his face drain. Yo, what happened? Marcus showed him the screen. Dee frowned. Bro, no. Don't play the mystery tag game. Call her, and keep your location on. But before Marcus could call the number back, his phone vibrated again, this time with a picture. A picture that made his chest lock. It was his house, taken from across the street. This morning, Lee's silhouette was in the window. Marcus's jaw clenched. Someone's watching my house. Dee cursed under his breath. Do not go home alone, you hear me? Marcus grabbed his coat. I'm going right now. Dee grabbed his arm. Hold up. You need police. Marcus shook him off. And tell them what? A billionaire CEO is hiding in my house wearing my shirt, and someone texted me a creepy picture. They'll think I'm crazy. Dee exhaled hard. Call me the second you get there. If you don't, I'm coming. Marcus nodded and ran out. But halfway to his car, his phone buzzed again. He pulled it out, ready to snap. Until he saw the message, do not come home. It's not safe. Lee Marcus stopped cold. His heartbeat pounded through his chest. He dialed her number immediately. No answer again. No answer. He ran to his car, threw himself inside, and sped home. The whole time, one thought hammered in his skull. What the hell is happening? Marcus pulled onto his street like a man possessed. He hit the brakes before the car even stopped and jumped out. But when he reached the porch, the front door was open, wide open. His stomach dropped. He stepped inside slowly, every instinct screaming at him. Lee, silence, Lee, still nothing. He rushed through the living room, stopped. The guest room door was open. The bed was a mess. The window was open again, this time wider, like someone climbed out. Then he saw it. A single sheet of paper on the bed. His name written on top. He grabbed it with shaking hands. The note was short, terrifyingly short. I'm sorry, Marcus. I never meant to bring danger to Joy. They found me. Please protect her. Marcus felt the blood drain from his body. He read it again and again and again. No, hell no. He grabbed his phone and dialed her number, straight to voicemail. He dialed again, nothing. Then he checked the hallway, Joy's room. Her drawer was open. Clothes thrown, toys displaced. Joy wasn't home yet, but someone had gone through her things. Someone had searched or threatened. Marcus's fists trembled. Whoever did this, whoever scared Lee enough to climb out a window, whoever watched his house, they weren't done. Marcus stepped back into the hallway. His breath came out in one cold whisper. Oh, hell no. No one is touching my daughter. No one. He tore through the house searching for clues. The back door, still locked. The windows, only the guest room one was tampered with. The fence outside had a footprints. Mall, maybe a woman's, or maybe someone who wanted to look smaller. His pulse hammered. He checked the neighbors' yards. He checked the alley. He checked the street. Nothing. He walked back in sigh. Angry, confused, terrified, determined. Then his phone buzzed again. Another unknown message. He opened it. One sentence that made his blood go cold. Stay out of this, Marcus. She belongs to us. Marcus stared at the screen, gripping the phone hard enough that it almost snapped. Belongs to us. He had seen fear before, but this was ownership. This was control. This was someone who thought they owned Lee Winters. Marcus walked slowly to the living room, sat down, stared at nothing. Then something sharp clicked into place in his mind. He remembered her flinching at the restaurant. Remembered her whispering, I don't know who I can trust. Remembered her bruises. Remembered her panic when she said she'd been drugged. Remembered how she reacted when he asked if someone was looking for her. She wasn't running from a stranger. She was running from someone powerful, someone connected, someone who thought they owned her, someone wealthy enough to track her instantly, and bold enough to watch Marcus's house. Marcus breathed once, deep, slow, controlled. He had been scared for 10 minutes. That was enough. Marcus stood up. His voice was a low, steady growl. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you got. You don't come near my daughter, and you damn sure don't take a woman from my house. He grabbed his coat, grabbed his keys, grabbed Joy's emergency backpack. Then he walked out the front door with one mission: find Lee. Before whoever took her made sure she never spoke again. And Marcus Hale wasn't about to let that happen. Not to the woman who fell into his life wearing his shirt. Not to the woman who trusted him with her fear. Not to the woman who wrote "Protect Joy" with shaking hands. He wasn't losing her, not tonight, not ever. He was going to bring her home, and he wasn't leaving until he did. Marcus didn't remember the drive. He didn't remember hitting the freeway, didn't remember switching lanes, didn't remember running 2 red lights or the horn. Snarling chaos behind him. All he remembered was the note. That trembling, rushed handwriting. That last line, "Please protect her." Joy, his daughter, his world, and Lee, wherever she was, had written that line like she knew something Marcus didn't. Like she'd already decided she would rather disappear than let danger touch that little girl. His jaw clenched so tight it hurt. He pulled into the auto shop, slammed the car door, and stormed inside. Dee nearly dropped a wrench when he saw Marcus's face. Marcus. Yo, what the hell happened? They took her. Dee blinked. Who? Joy? Lee? Dee's eyes widened. What do you mean took her? Marcus dropped the note on the workbench. Dee skimmed it, his expression shifting from confusion to anger to something like fear. Bro, this is bad. No kidding. Did you call the cops? And tell them what, Dee? Marcus snapped. That a billionaire CEO was hiding in my house wearing my shirt, and someone climbed through the window to take her. They'd cuff me before they listened. Dee hesitated. So what's the plan? Marcus didn't answer, because he didn't have one yet. But he had rage and instinct, and one small lead. The picture of his house sent from an unknown number. I'm tracing whoever's watching my street. Marcus said. Someone was out there this morning. Dee frowned. Trace it how? You ain't no hacker. No. Marcus said, grabbing his keys again, but I know someone who is. The someone lived 28 minutes away and charged $200 an hour, but Marcus didn't care. He'd known her since high school. A computer freak with more degrees than manners. Her name was Avery Lai. Marcus hammered on her apartment door until she swung it open wearing pajama pants and a tank top, hair wild, eyes furious. What do you want? I was coding. They took someone. Avery stared, defined they. Marcus handed her his phone. She read the messages, read the picture, read the last threatening text. Then she inhaled slowly. Okay, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, she was booting up 3 monitors and cracking her knuckles like she was about to commit a felony, which she almost certainly was. Avery plugged Marcus's phone into her system. I'll trace the location of whoever sent these messages, she said, but if they're professional, they'll be bouncing the number all over hell. Marcus nodded. Just try. Avery smirked. Baby, I don't try. I succeed. Her fingers flew across the keyboard so fast Marcus's eyes couldn't keep up. Numbers, coordinates, codes, encrypted ping routes. Whatever language she was speaking, it wasn't English anymore. 3 minutes later, she stopped. Oh, this is bad. Marcus swallowed. Who is it? The number is masked. Heavy masking. But the signal bounced off a tower routing used by high-security corporations. Ones with private surveillance. Marcus's heartbeat thudded in his ears. Which corporation? Avery zoomed in on the connection, isolating the signal. Her jaw dropped. Marcus. It's Winters Global. Everything inside Marcus froze. Winters, Lee Winters, Winters Global. One of the most powerful tech conglomerates on the East Coast. And its CEO was Lee's father, Victor Winters. A man with the kind of money that rewrote laws. Marcus sat back slowly. She ran. From her own family. Avery raised an eyebrow. You didn't know. How the hell would I know? Avery sighed. Okay, let me break it down. Victor Winters is not a good man, the kind of guy who keeps smiling for cameras while burying bodies with his other hand, not literally, probably, but figuratively, absolutely. Why would he be after his own daughter? Avery turned to him. Maybe because she knows something. Marcus's fists tightened. He thought of Lee's fear when he asked who hurt her. He thought of the bruises. He thought of the panic in her eyes when she whispered, "I don't know who I can trust." He thought of her apology written on the note, of her telling him not to come home, of her running barefoot through the night until she collapsed at his door. Lee Winters wasn't hiding from an ex. She wasn't hiding from a random threat. She was hiding from her own blood. Avery turned back to the screen. "I can't tell you the exact location, but I can tell you this. Whatever happened, Winters Global thinks she belongs under their control." Marcus's jaw tightened. "No, not anymore." Avery hesitated. "What are you going to do? Find her? Alone? Marcus, these people have private security. They have tech. They have lawyers who eat men like you for breakfast." "I don't care," he said. "But I promise to protect her," he said quietly. "And I don't break promises." Avery stared at him for a long moment, then sighed and turned back to her system. "I'm giving you an address," she said. "There's a Winters-owned facility about 40 minutes from here. A private one, not listed publicly." Marcus straightened. "You think she's there? I think that's where you start." He took the piece of paper with the address on it. Avery grabbed his arm. "Marcus, don't do anything stupid." He looked down at her hand. "I don't do stupid," he said. "I do necessary." And then he walked out. The Winters facility sat at the edge of a wooded industrial zone, all metallic, sterile, with reflective windows that felt like eyes watching everything. Marcus parked a block away. He scanned the perimeter. Security cameras, motion lights, 2 guards at the front. A black SUV parked near a side door. He clenched his jaw. He wasn't stupid enough to walk in, but he wasn't leaving either. He needed a distraction, or an opening, or both. He crouched behind a dumpster and watched the guards' routine. One smoked every 20 minutes. The other checked his phone constantly. They laughed occasionally. Some joke Marcus couldn't hear. Then his phone buzzed. "Avery again. Sending you something. Don't freak out." Marcus frowned. 30 seconds later, the lights on the north side of the building began flickering violently. The guards jumped. "What the?" One tapped his radio. "We got electrical issues on the north panel." A voice crackled back. "Copy, get maintenance." The guards split. One heading inside, one circling the perimeter. Marcus smirked. "Thank you, Avery." He moved. Fast, low, silent. He reached the side door just as the guard disappeared around the far corner. He grabbed the door handle locked, but the maintenance code panel lit up. Marcus took a guess. Lee's birthday. He didn't know it, but the night before he had glimpsed her phone when she entered the kitchen. The screen had shown a faint number 6/12, half covered by her hand. He tried it. 612 enter. The light turned green. The door clicked. Marcus slipped inside. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet. White walls, soft lights, no camera in the corner. Strange for a facility. He moved deeper. Voices echoed ahead. He pressed himself against the wall and listened. Sedated. She'll be transferred soon. Victor wants her contained, not harmed. She shouldn't have run. She knows too much. Marcus's blood turned ice. Sedated, contained, knows too much. A door opened. Footsteps approached. Marcus ducked into the nearest room. He pressed his back to the wall as 2 men walked past. He peered through the crack in the door, and his breath locked in his throat. They wheeled a stretcher, and on that stretcher her hair messy, eyes closed, face pale, wearing his shirt was Lee. Marcus's body went numb, then hot, then shaking with something darker than rage. They turned a corner, disappearing with her. Marcus pushed out of the room and followed, not too close, not too far. They rolled her into a room labeled medical hold. The guards went inside. Marcus counted. 1, 2, 3, 4. They came back out without the stretcher. Marcus flattened himself against the wall as they passed, arguing about something. Something about orders, something about the transfer schedule, something about protocol. He didn't hear a word. All he heard was his pulse. All he saw was Lee lying unconscious on a metal bed in a room with no windows. As soon as the guards turned the corner, he moved. He rushed to the medical hold door and tried it. Locked, of course. He scanned the keypad. No numbers, a keycard lock. Footsteps echoed down the hall. Marcus ducked behind a supply cart as a doctor approached. White coat, clipboard, badge. That badge had what he needed. Marcus waited, then grabbed the doctor from behind, clamped a hand over his mouth, and pulled him behind the cart. The doctor struggled. Marcus whispered, "I don't want to hurt you, but I will if I have to." The doctor froze. "Give me the card," Marcus growled. The doctor shook his head. Marcus tightened his grip. The doctor panicked and tossed the card at him. Marcus released him. "Stay down. Don't move." He didn't check if the doctor listened. He sprinted to the door, swiped the card. It beeped. He yanked the door open, and there she was, Lee, unconscious, barefoot, hooked to an Roman 4, his shirt slipping off one shoulder. Her breathing was slow. Too slow. Marcus rushed to her side. "Lee, hey, can you hear me?" No response. He turned off the Roman 4, ripped out the plug just in case, and lifted her carefully into his arms. She was lighter than he expected. Too light, he swallowed hard. "I'm getting you out of here." He carried her to the door, swiped the card. The hallway was empty. He moved, fast. He turned the corner and froze. 3 guards stood at the end of the hall. Weapons drawn. "Put her down," one ordered. Marcus tightened his hold. "No. Put her down or we will fire." Marcus shook his head. "You're not taking her anywhere." The guard stepped forward. "This is your last warning." Marcus's feet planted themselves like roots. His voice was calm, steady, deadly. "You want her," he said. "Come take her." The guard raised his weapon. Marcus breathed once, prepared to fight, prepared to die, prepared to do whatever it took when suddenly a voice boomed from the intercom overhead. "Stand down." The guards froze. "Lower your weapons." They looked up, confused. The voice repeated, "Now." Then footsteps echoed behind Marcus, slow, heavy, purposeful. Marcus turned and saw a man in a tailored black suit, silver hair slicked back, eyes sharp enough to cut glass. A man whose face Marcus recognized instantly from business magazines, from billboards, from the news. Victor Winters, Lee's father. He smiled, cold, calculating, and said, "Mr. Hale, you've caused quite a bit of trouble." Marcus glared. "Give me your daughter." Victor's smile widened. "She's not my daughter anymore." Then his eyes darkened. "She's my property." Marcus stepped back, holding Lee tighter. Victor clasped his hands behind his back. "Let's talk, Mr. Hale, since you've already involved yourself in matters you do not understand." Marcus didn't speak. Victor continued, "I will tell you everything." He took one slow step forward, but first, his eyes flicked to Lee. "I need you to put down what doesn't belong to you." Marcus's heartbeat thundered. Lee's breathing fluttered against his chest, and the world narrowed to one single unshakable truth. There was no universe, none, where Marcus Hale would hand her back. Not now, not ever. Jamal didn't move at first. He stood frozen at the top of the stairs, hearing but not understanding the sentence that just came out of Madison Hale's mouth. The words hung in the air, soft but sharp, like glass suspended before shattering. "I didn't come here to offer you a job. I came here to give you an inheritance." He blinked, his throat clicked. "Inheritance." Jamal whispered, barely trusting his own voice. "From who?" Madison took a breath like someone preparing to walk into a storm. "From my father," she said quietly, "from Harrison Hale." Jamal's heart stopped. Every black man from Baltimore to D.C. knew that name. The Hale family was practically its own dynasty, old money, old power, old secrets. Jamal's childhood neighborhood had stories about the Hale estate the way kids talk about haunted houses. He felt a tight burn in his chest. "Why? Why would your father leave something to me?" Madison's eyes softened. "Because he knew you long before I did." Jamal shook his head. "No, that can't be right." It is right," she said, stepping closer. "He knew you, he followed you. He watched you take care of your mother when she was dying, watched you raise Amina alone, watched you struggle and still stay kind. Do you know what he told me 2 months before he died?" Jamal stared. "I don't understand." Madison's voice dropped, steady but trembling. "He said, That boy has more integrity in his smallest finger than I have in my entire empire. Jamal felt something break open in him, confusion, anger, disbelief, grief he never even knew he had. Tears stung the corners of his eyes. He sat down slowly, like the floor was tilting beneath him. What was he to me? He whispered. Why would he care about me? Madison hesitated, then finally lowered the truth like a weight she'd been carrying too long. He wasn't just watching you, Jamal. Her voice cracked. He was watching you because you're his son. The room fell absolutely silent. Even the rain outside seemed to stop. Jamal felt his pulse slam inside his ears. No, he whispered, no. My father left before I was born. He didn't know your mother was pregnant. Madison said. She never told him. She left the city before she found out. He had no idea. He spent years looking for her, but she disappeared. Jamal's eyes burned. My mom was 17, he was. What a billionaire heir he would have. Madison said, he told me every day, when he found out you existed, when a private investigator finally found the birth certificate, he was too sick to come to you himself. So he asked me to. Jamal pressed both hands to his face, shaking, overwhelmed. My whole life. He whispered, my whole life I thought I was just some mistake somebody walked away from. Madison knelt in front of him and gently pulled his hands down. You were never a mistake, she said softly. You were the one thing he got right too late. Jamal's breath trembled. He left you something. She continued, not out of guilt, not out of pity, because he believed everything you've already become. You became on your own. Jamal stared at her, his eyes wet. What did he leave me? Madison stood and walked to her bag. She took out a sealed envelope, thick, heavy, official. It had the Hale family crest stamped across the back in deep gold. She handed it to him. His fingers shook as he opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, legal, formal, typed, but one line made his vision blur. Majority ownership of Hale Industries Food Division transferred upon the death of Harrison Charles Hale. Jamal felt his breath stop. Food Division alone was worth hundreds of millions. His hands trembled violently. This is a joke, he whispered. It's not. Madison said quietly. It's real. Jamal felt the floor fall away. All the nights he'd stayed awake worrying about rent. All the shifts he picked up. All the times he'd lied to Amina, telling her everything was okay. All the years he felt like life was rigged against him. Everything swirled. A lifetime of struggle meeting a truth that felt too big for his chest. He couldn't breathe. I can't take this. He whispered, I don't deserve this. Madison's voice softened into something that sounded like truth wrapped in grace. You deserve every blessing coming your way, she said, not because of who your father was, but because of who you are. Jamal closed his eyes, fighting tears, fighting the weight of it all. And there's more, Madison added gently. Jamal's eyes flew open. More? She nodded, swallowing hard. He didn't just leave you the company. She said, he left you me. His heartbeat stumbled. What do you mean? She stepped closer, not the CEO, not the billionaire, not the woman in his shirt. Just Madison. Just the woman who laughed in his kitchen, cried in his hallway, and held his daughter like she mattered. He asked me to guide you, she said, to help you transition, to teach you the world you're about to walk into. Her voice softened. But I stayed because I didn't want to leave you. Silence, thick, warm, real. Jamal swallowed, his voice barely a breath. Why? Her gaze didn't waver. Because you were the first person who ever treated me like a human being, she whispered. Not a CEO, not a Hale, just me. Jamal felt something unfurl inside him, something soft and terrifying and right. But before he could speak, Amina peeked from the staircase, rubbing her eyes. Daddy, why are you crying? Jamal wiped his face quickly and opened his arms. She ran into them. He held her close, breathing her in, grounding himself in the one truth that had always mattered. Madison watched them, her face breaking into something full of reverence. What happens now? Jamal whispered over Amina's head. Madison smiled softly. Now, she said, now you stop surviving and start living. Jamal let out a shuddering breath. A new life, a new truth, a new name, a new legacy, for the first time in years. Hope didn't feel dangerous, it felt possible. He stood slowly, still holding Amina, and looked at Madison, really looked at her. "Stay," he said quietly, "not because you promised my father, but because you want to." Madison stepped closer, her eyes shimmering. "I do want to," she whispered, "more than anything." And for the first time in his life, Jamal didn't feel like the world was against him. For the first time, it felt like the world was finally opening. A billionaire CEO in his shirt, a legacy he never asked for, a future he never imagined, but one thing he knew in his bones: his life had just begun.